Hello, my name is Rizzario Russell, and I totally stand for the U.S. sending troops into Syria to end the war. However, I do not believe this is a war of only action, but more of a political one. The war is being fought against ISIS, also known as ISIL, which stands for Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, and ISIL, which stands for Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. The more accurate acronym for this group is ISIL. It refers to a region stretching from southern Turkey through Syria to Egypt, also including Lebanon, Israel, the Palestinian territories, and Jordan. And the reason this term is used is because the group's goal is to restore an Islamic State in this entire area. The war is not between the US and ISIS alone. The US is helping Syrians who are being tormented and fighting for their freedom, their lives, and their country. In Syria, there are profound groups that are known as Sunni allies and the Syrian Kurds that the US will be working with to end this war. In a debate that occurred in September, a candidate known as Mr. Michael Duran asked one simple question: do we have vital interest in the Middle East? And the answer was yes. He then went on to state 3 vital points: fight global terrorism, prevent terrorist safe havens, known as ISIS, and prevent the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Due to terrorism in Syria, there's approximately 250,000 deaths, and half the population has been uprooted. So there's a need for Sunni allies, and this, as well as the Syrian Kurds, which we learned in the surge of 2007 to 2009, that if we embedded with this local group and provided it security, it will help against the extremists. So an alliance will also involve more bodies and help against this force of terrorism. Besides what the president, politicians, or higher-ups say, in general, the American people, a part of a profound country, are terrified. Always known to be an aid in the world, the U.S. is now faced with a problem that the people not only of the U.S., but Syria would love to see end. In a survey done recently, 61% of the U.S. think that ISIS is a major threat. 65% of Americans say ground troops will be necessary to remove this threat. As we can see of recent, in the media, the president has taken action in deploying troops into Syria. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest insisted that their role should not be described as a combat mission, saying the troops would train, advise, and assist local forces in an intensification of the U.S. effort against the Islamic State extremist group. Although the number of troops is small, it marks an escalation of U.S. involvement in the fight against the Islamic State, which controls a large part of northern Syria and has itself proclaimed capital in the Syrian city of Raqqa. The multifaceted strategy that the president put in place to degrade and destroy ISIL, and this military component to that strategy, is an important part of the president's top priority, which is safety of the American public. In conclusion, it is relieved to see that the president has taken action by deploying troops into Syria. The troops there aren't on the offensive. They are there to observe and give intelligence to the government, and to find connections and more allies, because like I said earlier, it is a political war.